So attending today's forum, we have officials from Beijing Commerce Bureau, diplomats, ambassadors from more than 20 diplomatic missions, and representatives from a number of ministries, and experts from Qualcomm, Daimler, LinkedIn, Michelin, Dell, Taos, Warner Brothers, and also business leaders from the service trade industries. Welcome. And also we'd like to thank the support of Beijing Dongyu Globalization think tank and Tencent. We would also like to thank China.com and China Finance and Baidu Finance for your coverage. Now, it's my pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Yang Jinbai, Vice Mayor of Beijing, to give the opening remarks. Respected guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a great pleasure for us to gather here in this beautiful season of autumn to discuss the challenges and opportunities of the new era and discuss the new measures and planning for the development of two zones in Beijing. On behalf of the Beijing municipal government, I would like to extend our warmest congratulations and welcome to the guests. And I would also like to thank CCG for your support. CIFTIS is a platform, a national, international, and comprehensive international exhibition and trading platform. In the context of pandemic, we organized this global exhibition which showcase our resolution to continue opening up. In terms of development of trading services, Beijing has always been in a leading position as the only city has the comprehensive demonstration area for opening up, and also free trade zones. Beijing is seizing up the opportunities. On the one hand, we have new explorations in the area of innovation, digital economy, and we offer a number of tax preferential measures to create a friendly business environment. On the other hand, we have built the international exchange of big data, a number of 35 important platforms, and we have also built the first 4 solely owned money brokerage companies, and we are trying to inject more vitality into the market players. And we accomplished 80% of the tasks for establishing, developing the two zones, and we are promoting 10 best practice cases. And we have implemented half of all the projects in the pipeline. In the first 7 months of the year, we have established 1,035 foreign invested companies. Respected guests, dear friends, the opening up in China has reached a new level. President Xi Jinping's opening remark at the summit of CIFTIS pointed out that we're going to support the work of Beijing to build a demonstration area for digital trade. This actually points out the future direction of Beijing, and Beijing is going to seize this opportunity and take up the responsibility to explore a mechanism for building open economy. So we would like to invite you to participate in the development of two zones in Beijing. We wish you prosperity in Beijing, and we're going to provide better service and create a better business environment for all of you. So let's work together to create a better future for Beijing. I wish this forum every success. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor, Mr. Yang Jinbai. Next, let me give the floor to the President of CCG, Mr. Wang Huiyao. Mr. Vice Mayor, Vice Minister Chen Jian, Vice Minister Yi Xiaoju, Minister Zhou Yanjun, Ambassador of Ireland, His Excellency and Derwin, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, it's a pleasure for me to welcome you to attend the Beijing Two-Zone and Corporate Globalization Forum. This is the first time that we combine the two themes together at this forum. And this forum is jointly organized by CCG and the Beijing Bureau of Commerce. It is also the 8th China Inbound-Outbound Forum. The China Inbound-Outbound Forum was established in 2014, and we are committed to building a new type of international business forum focused on inbound and outbound of Chinese businesses. Minister Chen Jian, Minister Zhou Yanli attended this forum multiple times previously, and also Mr. Liu, Director General of Beijing Commerce Bureau, also attended this forum. So this is, we aim to build a high-level, professional, and international forum focused on the inbound and outbound investment. So for this year's forum, we have invited officials, business leaders, diplomats, and experts. So up to 1,000 representatives to discuss the new layout for China's reform, China's opening up, and new direction for globalization, and also discuss new business opportunities in the restructuring of global supply chain. And also we hope to help Beijing to build multi-level, high-level service industries. China has been promoting high-level opening up by organizing national events like CIFTIS to further open up to the outside world. In the context of COVID-19 pandemic, China is speeding up, building up cooperation platforms to provide new development opportunities for domestic and foreign companies. This also helps to reboost the confidence in the recovery of the global economy. On the evening of the 2nd of September, President Xi Jinping at the summit of CIFTIS again emphasized opening up further and expanding areas for cooperation and strengthening rule-making for the service industries. And this shows our resolution to further open up service industries. And the establishment of stock exchange in Beijing also shows a new chapter of opening up of the Chinese capital market. And so all these, especially for SMEs and also foreign companies, these all means stronger support. So combined with him of this year's CIFTIS towards digital future and service-driven development, this forum is going to discuss the theme of the development of two zones, digital economy, promoting green development and new opportunities in China, the new normal of countermeasures, and other hot topics. And also at this forum, we are going to issue our latest report, the trends in the U.S.-China relation, implications for multinational corporations. And also it's an honor for us to have with us today Vice Minister Yi Xiaoju, also the former Vice Director General of WTO. At last year's opening ceremony of the forum, you spoke at the CIFTIS on behalf of WTO, and it's an honor for us to have Minister Yi at today's forum. So China's opening up development is now at a crucial juncture to further align domestic market with international markets and participate in rulemaking internationally. So as we continue to promote opening up, we're going to establish open and orderly market environment, and we're going to provide more policy facilitation and support for companies to.
The President says digitalization and green and smart transformation and innovative development are the future trend of digital economy. And China has already enjoyed a leading advantage, moving from a follower to forerunners to a leader and important player in rulemaking. And we pay attention to the carbon target of 2060, and green development has become a new fashion of the world. And the service industries such as AI and big data are growing very fast. The smart society is coming to the door. And our forum today is focused on globalization, including inbound and outbound globalization, including the foreign invested companies development in China. Not long ago, Minister Wang of Commerce Ministry says that foreign invested companies account for 2% of the Chinese economy, creating 40 million jobs, contributing 1/6 of tax and 2/5 of import. And China is one of the largest FDI destinations. And the Business Environment Report says that 61% of the respondent companies consider China as the destination of investment of choice, and 2/3 of the company says they will increase investment in China. And with economic and social reform in China and development of two zones, multinational companies are facing new opportunities. Dear friends, the digital economy is reshaping world trade, and this trading service will be the new growth pole of Chinese economy. And digital trade is a new point in the innovation of service in trade, and we will need to combine our development with the national strategy. I hope that you will be inspired from this forum. The world is changing in the new era, and again, welcome to participate in the forum, and we hope that we'll continue to work together with the academia and the business to promote the development of Chinese companies in the era of globalization and in the age of digital economy. Thank you very much. Thank you, President Wang Huiyao. And now we come to the keynote speeches. Our first speaker is Mr. Chen Jian, the former Vice Minister of Commerce. Good morning, dear participants, and I would like to congratulate on the opening of this important forum. And because we're talking about trading services, I would like to share one point. That's to promote outbound investment in trading service to create a rapid and comprehensive development of service trade in China. So we need to first understand China's position in the global service trade. And I find it very difficult because so far there has been no comprehensive set of statistics of service trade. So I browsed the WTO data, the UNCTAD, and the China Service Trade Research Institute, and the Shanghai Service Trade Outsourcing Center in Shanghai, and MOFCOM. And then I came to the conclusion as follows. Right now, according to UNCTAD statistics, in 2020, the global trading service was 9.6 trillion US dollars, and that for China is 661.7 billion, 5.63% of that of the world. And there are some specific data which are even more comparable. And for service in trade and construction, China has a higher share, 18.3%. However, if you look at financial service and insurance, China's share is rather low. And in finance, we account for about 0.7% of that of the world. Insurance, we are 6.2%. Telecommunications, communication, and is 6.6%. Other commercial service, 4.7% of the world. All these figures have shown that our service trade as a share of the world is still relatively low. The total size of the Chinese economy as a share of the world is about 17%. And trading the goods in China, the share of the world is 16.2%. And service trades of China, the share of the world is only 6.6%. It looks rather low. This conclusion helps us to think about how to promote the development of service trade in the future. If you look at the situation now, first, we realize that we still have a great challenge to develop a trading service because we have a large size of the economy and our share in the world economy is growing. And secondly, there is a big potential for trading service in China. So this is a challenging task, and this is also a promising task. In terms of developing trading service, we see that it is very significant to develop service trade because first, it helps to accelerate the sustainable growth of Chinese economy. The total size of Chinese economy is at considerable level. And where are the future growth points? Besides consumption, maybe trading service is an important growth pole. And secondly, it can help to reduce bottlenecks in the dual circulations. When we talk about dual circulations, the key things is to open up bottlenecks. And why do we have the bottlenecks or broken points? There are reasons of institutions and also a lack of public service. So there's a great space for the development of service trade. And thirdly, it helps to maintain security of economic performance. If the total size of our economy and our service trade do not match, then it means there's a potential threat to economic security. China has a big trade volume. However, in financial settlements, the share of financial settlement is still so low, and it means there is a great threat to our economic security. And secondly, I've been thinking about how to develop service trade. The 14th five-year plan pointed out the direction for the development of service trade. In the next step, the central government says that we need to accelerate the development of modern services, to promote manufacturing service, to move up the value chain, and to be more professional, and to promote market players to participate in service supply, to accelerate the development of legal service, modern logistics, etc., to promote modern service industry to be integrated in advanced manufacturing and modern agriculture, to promote the digitalization of service, and to promote manufacturing service to be of higher quality, to increase the supply of public interest service, and to promote brand building of service, and to improve the level of public culture. And at the same time, we must have high quality inbound and outbound service development, and to expand liberalization of service sector in an orderly way. And there are three conclusions we can draw from this. First, the service trade should accelerate its development. And secondly, the development of service trade should be done in the environment of openness. And the third, openness should be high-quality inbound and outbound development. Since reform and opening up, we have been liberating the service sector, attracting more and more foreign investment. This is a gradual opening up process. Many aspects of trade in service have been fully discussed. So today, I would like to focus on outbound investment in service trade. Outbound investment is an important way to accelerate the development of service trade, especially modern service sector. How do we conduct this development? First, we should encourage Chinese companies such as financial, insurance, transportation, and e-commerce companies to conduct extensive international cooperation, and they should make investment in foreign countries and do merger and acquisition to participate in international competition and cooperation. At the same time, we encourage foreign invested companies in China to participate in the investments too. And thirdly, we should encourage joint venture companies and Chinese companies in other countries to work with local companies in other countries to make investment. And thirdly, we should accelerate the development of digitalization and to increase the share of digital service to lay a great foundation for cooperation in modern service trade and service delivery. How should we proceed? I have 6 suggestions. First, we must stick to the principle of win-win cooperation and proceed from the philosophy of community of shared future to promote outbound investment in trading service. If we want to be sustainable, we must focus on shared interest. And secondly, in relevant countries, while we connect with those countries in macro-level policy, we should develop effective plans to guide companies to participate in development. And the companies should be the players, main players in the market. In that aspect, I do not want to use the word promote because promote is quite imposing, so I want to use the word to guide those companies. And thirdly, while liberating the Chinese service sector, we should also facilitate the Chinese investment in service in other countries and to remove the barriers and to make institutional arrangements. Fourthly, investment in service should be mutually promoting with trade in goods. And fifth, to do capacity building for Chinese companies, especially when trade in service in China is still lagging behind. There are many issues we need to do research on, and we need to learn a lot of knowledge, especially legal knowledge. So we need to improve our own capacity and to be more self-disciplined and comply with international conventions. And sixthly, we should try to create good internal and external development environments. I believe that according to the overall plan of the central government and with our concerted efforts, our trading service, including outbound investment in trading service, will develop rapidly. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Minister Chen Jian, for your excellent presentation. Our next speaker is Minister Yi Xiaoju, who just retired from his role as the Deputy Director General of WTO a few months. He's a very experienced official, and over to you, Minister Yi. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This year marks the 20th anniversary of China's accession to the WTO. Facts have shown that China's accession to the WTO is a milestone event in the history of the world. It has not only promoted the acceleration of world economic globalization and has also promoted the opening up of trading service in China and the rapid development of trading service in China. I was involved in the long negotiation of China's accession to the WTO from the beginning to the end. After that, I was China's ambassador to the WTO and Deputy Director General of the WTO for 2 terms. So I'd like to talk about opening up and China's development in service in trade from personal view.
I remember when China entered WTO in 2001, that was the most difficult times of China's economy. There were still the aftershocks of the 1997 Asian financial crisis. In 1998 and 1999, the growth rate of the Chinese economy dropped below 8%, and even down to 7.3% in 2001. So when the Chinese economy was at the lowest point, WTO members put forth extensive and also very strict requirements for China to opening up its market. But we know the service industry is the most vulnerable part of the national economy. So whether we should open up this area was a very difficult decision for the Chinese government at the last stage of this accession to WTO. But from the strategic perspective, the Chinese leaders considered this challenge as an opportunity for the reform of opening up in China and decided to open up the sector. And also based on the competitiveness of different industries, we set different transition period for different sub-industries. So ultimately, China has committed to open up 100 subsectors of the industries, including finance, insurance, securities, and telecom, which are very sensitive areas for China. Compared to the level of opening up in China, the former WTO members only promised to open up less than 50% of its sub-industries in the service industry on average. I still remember when we reached the agreement, off the record, an American negotiation official jokingly told me that we wouldn't believe that China would deliver on this very extensive and substantial commitment. But even if China only deliver on 80% of the commitment, it would be still good enough for the Americans. That China lived up to its words, and we modified our laws and regulations for banking, insurance, securities, tourism, telecom, education, medical service, and construction to strictly implement our commitment of opening up in our accession to the WTO. And the facts showed that external pressure from the opening up actually improved the incitors for the industries to become more competitive. Over the past 2 decades, service industries in China, especially sectors that have been opened up, have enjoyed a great progress in recent years. Apart from living up to our commitment in our trading services, and in addition, we unilaterally continue to open up, and we introduced this advanced practice of the negative list and continue to reduce restrictions on foreign investment in China. In 2020, China released the special management measures for access of foreign investment, which is also the negative list. And the restrictive measures on this negative list reduced from 63 items to 33 items since 2017. And we eliminate restrictions on ratio of foreign investment. And we also open up the business scope for foreign insurance brokerage companies, and we no longer have restrictions on joint securities companies. And in telecom area, we have eliminated restrictions on store and forwarding services, e-commerce, etc. So these major substantial measures have been welcomed and well received by other WTO members. China decided to continue to unilaterally expand opening up and also create open and leveled business environment for foreign investors based on, according to the World Bank Doing Business Report 2020, China's business environment moved up to number 31, moving up by 15 positions compared to the previous year. And we have been one of the top 10 economies that have achieved biggest improvement in business environment. Based on this, due to this improvement of business environment, China has been the second biggest receiver of foreign direct investment. And also, service industry has been a very popular area for foreign investment. With China's stable opening up, the number of foreign invested companies in the service industries, or the ratio, surpassed that of the manufacturing industry in 2008 and reached 73.37% in 2018 after the outbreak of the pandemic. In 2020, direct foreign investment globally dropped by 35%, while direct foreign investment in China increased by 4.5%. In the first half of 2020, high-tech service industry in China utilized 19.2% more foreign investment. Information service, testing service, R&D service increased by 29%, 8.7%, and 35.7% respectively. over the past 2 decades, by seizing up the opportunities of its accession to WTO, China proactively opened up the market and actively integrate into the global value chain and achieved very good progress. But in recent years, we have seen a strong rebound of global protectionism, economic globalization, especially globalization of manufacturing industry, have been hit with a very strong pushback. And in this backdrop, many people ask, are there any external opportunities for fast development for China in the next 2 decades? My answer is definitely yes, because I noticed that with the wide application of digital technology, the trade in services developed significantly, and its growth rate already surpassed that of trade in goods. According to WTO statistics, from 2012 to 2019, cross-border trade in service exports, its ratio to the global exports increased from 19.5% to 24.5%. So it is projected that by 2040, the ratio of trading services in global trade will increase to 30%. So in the back of these figures actually reflected 2 trends in international trade. One trend is the trade in goods is becoming more service-oriented. So it is more important to put in more service elements to trading products. For example, when Germany exports every 1 BMW vehicle, the added value from R&D, design, marketing, and after-sales already exceeds 50% of the value of the car. And the second mega trend is the digitalization of trading services, R&D, design, the outsourcing of service, software, cloud service, online games, music, movies, telemedicine, online education, and computer and information service. All these services that can be delivered online are growing rapidly with the speeding up of the evolution of technology and industrial transformation. We already feel that, led by the digital technology, globalization of trading services is developing very quickly. At last year's Global Service Trade Summit, President Xi Jinping pointed out that due to the features of light assets and soft elements of trading services, requires more openness, transparency, inclusiveness, and it requires countries to reduce barriers on and after the boundaries, the borders. And we need to push cross-border connectivity. So I believe as we continue to push for opening up and continue to expand access to the trading, to the service market, China will be able to seize the new opportunities of globalization of service industry and have another 2 decades of high-quality development. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Yi Xiaoju. Next, let me give the floor to Ambassador of Ireland to China, Madam Derwin.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank you, President Wang, and your colleagues at the Centre for China and Globalization for affording me the opportunity to address you today. Now, more than ever, the importance of trade and services to the evolution and stability of the global economy cannot be overstated. The past decade has seen a rapid rise in trade and services compared to trade in goods, to a point where we now see a services sector that accounts for over 2/3 of foreign direct investment globally, as well as representing over 40% of global trade. In fact, in Ireland, trade and services now accounts for 66% of our total trade. So far this year, we have seen global trade and services continue to grow, especially in Q2, with transport services and trade and digital services such as communications, computer and business services showing particularly strong growth. The impact of the COVID pandemic has left no service sector untouched. While some industries, such as aviation, travel and tourism, were negatively impacted by the pandemic, others, such as medtech and pharma, in which Ireland is particularly strong, e-commerce and online entertainment, have all experienced very significant growth. The onset of the pandemic last year brought many service areas to the fore, including digital service delivery, digital payments and fintech. Specifically, in relation to financial services, the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of this sector in supporting all other economic activities by stabilising markets and ensuring the flow of credit and payments. We have seen central banks and financial regulators in many countries, with those in China amongst the first, proactively intervening to combat the economic and financial impacts of the pandemic. They have done this by showing a clear commitment to using all available measures with a view to stabilising markets and ensuring the flow of credit to households and to businesses. Post-pandemic, the rapid expansion of technological advancement in financial services and services more broadly is very unlikely to slow down. Rather, the growth of the digital economy will spur this on, and this trend will see new digital tools helping companies to lower their costs, digitise client interactions, and ultimately increase profitability. Additionally, the risk of exposure to fraud and technology outages will accelerate the shift to the cloud and a greater focus on cybersecurity. Advances in technology are enabling new business models and product offerings for all segments of financial services, including insurance, regulation, blockchain and next-generation technologies. Fintech companies are accelerating the digital transformation of the financial services ecosystem, and banks and financial institutions are being forced to modify their strategic plans by speeding up the launch of new digital services and products, often in collaboration with the fintech sector. Financial services is one area of trade and services that is attracting substantial interest here in China. And I will sure you will agree that China's opening up of its financial services sector over recent years has been very interesting to observe, and the pace at which this is happening is very encouraging. It is heartening to see the steps that China has taken in opening up to foreign investment. The removal of foreign ownership and participation limits insurance, wealth asset and pension fund management sectors is a clear sign of China's intentions to encourage more foreign direct investment into the country. The abolition of quotas for inward investment will likely encourage more foreign institutional investment in China's market. China has a sizable $45 trillion financial services industry. Given the modest share that foreign companies hold, foreign investors will want to see the process of opening up continue to allow all companies, both domestic and foreign, enjoy equal access in market entry and operations. In the broader context of EU-China bilateral and trade relations, it will be important that these relations be based on the key principles of reciprocity, a level playing field, and clear and predictable rules. The existing barriers impeding access to the Chinese market for European investors and exporters of goods and services need to be removed for the EU and China to mutually benefit from investment in both directions. Now I'll talk to you a little bit about the Irish perspective. As a small and open economy with significant strengths in areas of trade and services, Ireland is keenly aware of the rapid rise in the sector in the wider global economy. Ireland is a globally recognised centre for international financial services and now accounts for 6.3% of our GDP. At present, Ireland is the 5th largest exporter of financial services in Europe and the 8th largest in the world. Irish financial services expertise covers a wide range, but notably in banking and payments, in aircraft leasing, fintech and sustainable finance. One of the key challenges in these areas is that while financial services is a regulated sector, new business models, technologies and disruption to traditional products and services will present a more complex environment for regulation to keep pace with the speed of change. Another important growth area in Ireland is data centre services, with recent research indicating that Ireland is one of the European data centre markets set for continuing growth, with capacity expected to expand significantly in the coming years. Businesses of all sizes across all sectors need to access and transfer data in order to operate efficiently, to innovate and to trade in an increasingly digital global economy. The 21st century global economy means that this requirement to access and to transfer data is no longer specific to businesses in the ICT sector. Digital technology has radically altered and enabled the international trade in the services sector and is central to how services are traded across all sectors. While the cross-border transfer of data is clearly crucial to the delivery of services, the trade of goods and services is becoming increasingly interconnected due to the rise of smart technology. The secure cross-border transfer of data is necessary for the supply of services related to physical goods due to the integration of Internet of Things technology into an ever-increasing number of products, from cars to light bulbs. As a result, the capacity to legally and safely transfer data across borders is an increasingly important component of global trade, while at the same time the protection of personal data has become an important consideration for all businesses. It is important that companies engaged in cross-border trade have access to legal means to transfer data across borders for legitimate business purposes. Given the shared global challenge presented by climate change, it is important that the development of trade and services is underpinned by the imperative to ensure sustainability. The EU and its member states are fully committed to this. The EU's 2019 Green Deal outlines measures towards mainstreaming sustainability in all EU policies, including trade policy. Ireland and China also fully realise the importance of this challenge, with China's stated goal of reaching carbon peak by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2060. Ireland's recently enacted legislation commits us to halving emissions by 2030 and becoming carbon neutral by 2050. As trade and services becomes increasingly entwined with the digital economy, we as consumers must have confidence that our online engagement, interactions, and more importantly, transactions, protect our privacy and uphold our right as consumers. Continued discussions at the international level on e-commerce will focus on the establishment of greater trust in how commercial entities manage and control the data that we generate when we engage in online activities to ensure that appropriate protections are in place. So in conclusion, overall, while important challenges remain to be resolved in the area of trade and services in the coming years, it is also very clear that the opportunities are immense in multiple areas across this sector. What is crucial now is that we as countries and economies continue to work together to address these challenges in a dynamic and innovative way, while maximising the opportunities to trade in a sustainable and consistent manner for the benefit of all. Thank you. Xie.
感谢安代文大。
Thank you very much, Ambassador Anne Derwin. Our next speaker is Kamran VOSSOUGHI, President and CEO of Michelin China.
Kamran VOSSOUGHI, warmly welcome.
Distinguished President Wang, Vice Mayor Yang from Beijing Municipal Government, Vice Minister CHEN, Her Excellency Ambassador Derwin, Vice Minister Yi, dear leaders, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be with you this morning to talk about trade in services, and I'm especially grateful to CCG to have invited me for such a high-level panel with such distinguished people. People before me talk about different topics about trade in services, and I would like to bring another point of view as a CEO of a multinational company in China, and to talk with you about the importance of a green and digital transformation, both in product and services. As you know, the climate change is now a common challenge for the world, and green transformation has become a global common topic. The whole world, including China and the European Union especially, attach great importance to this issue. As you know, in September 2020, President Xi put forward China's dual carbon goals at the United Nations General Assembly, carbon summit by 2030, and carbon neutrality by 2060. Since, Chinese government issued a series of work plans and policies to achieve these goals. Green transformation is one of the key characteristics of the 14th Five-Year Plan. In April 2021, also the European Parliament approved the Climate Act, requiring 27 members to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 55% by 2030 compared with 1919, and to become net zero emissions economy by 2050. I think that the framework is very well set and designed. But green transformation, digital transformation, both in product and services, is not only a single technical or energy or environmental topic, but a wide-ranging and complex social and economical issue that brings new challenges to the enterprises. However, it also creates huge opportunities. The traditional industries would be transformed and upgraded, new business would be developed, and investors will find new investment opportunities. Meanwhile, with the increasing awareness of environmental protection, more and more consumers prefer green products, green services. They would like to be greener in transactions, in trades, and companies that are socially responsible and environmentally friendly are also more favored by consumers and also by investors. Market demand is changing, and green consumption is becoming a new fashion. I would like to take the example of Michelin, where I work as an example. Respect for environment is one of the Michelin's core values. Michelin believes in an all-sustainable approach. We consider and strive for the balance between three key components: people first, profit, and planet. The balance between these three elements is key for a sustainable development of our planet. Our group has pledged to reduce carbon dioxide emissions at all its production facilities by 50% in 2030, which is an important challenge. and to reach carbon neutrality by 2050. As you know, innovation is the driving force of green transformation for MNCs, both in products and in services. For example, in our group, innovation has been always in our DNA. We have been the author of 2/3 of invention of the world in our industry. Now in digital time, when we need to become greener, we keep innovating with around, beyond, and with tires toward a greener future. With tires, we have developed and launched this year the tires dedicated to electrical vehicles, by developing special services around this product. Last year, for example, as a good example of pushing to be greener in some areas that we even cannot imagine, we awarded the Green Star to the restaurant for the first time in Beijing to recognize the restaurants that promote sustainable gastronomy, thereby advocating a green lifestyle. Michelin has also been researching and developing in the field of hydrogen energy for more than 15 years. This March, we set up a new entity in China to work on that. And what's important is also the development of services and the connection between product and services when it goes to the topic that we are talking about. These practices of our company shows that enterprises have broad prospect and great potential in green development, both for products, services, and connecting a seamless journey from product to services for consumers, as long as the continuous innovation and focus on consumer demands are in place and in heart. As I earlier said, climate change is a global issue. We shall not be auto-satisfied by our own achievement. Moreover, we should call and pledge for international cooperation among countries, enterprises, and citizens by joining forces. We are happy to see many positive moves in this direction. As I'm also in the Executive Committee of the European Chamber, I would like to mention some initiatives that has been started between European Union and China. Recently, EU and China agreed in 2020 to establish a high-level environment and climate dialogue to pursue ambitions, joint commitment on green partnership, and the first meeting has been held. And as you know, within this agreement, all the domains from products to services and the way that the trades should be managed has been put in this framework. If I'm coming back to MNCs like Michelin, we have been making great efforts for international cooperation on green transformation. Let me give you one international and another more local initiatives. We have created well-known international platform, Michelin Challenge Vivendum, and the Moving On Summit to promote the smart mobility, both for products and for the development of services. And our group is pushing for the development of services in the industry of mobility, because without services, without connectivity, without connecting by digital means the product to service, the life of our consumer will be not as easy as before. Another good example in China, we actively participate in CIIE and animate the working group on the smart mobility and clean energy special committee. A meeting was just held last week in Shanghai between some MNCs and authorities and has collected the insight of the key players of the sector. We exchanged on the importance of innovation in services, even we are mainly product companies. And we also talk about the necessity changes that we need to bring in regulations to make these new business models in services happen. Dear ladies, gentlemen, dear leaders, as a resume, I see 4 roles of MNCs for the promoting a greener and more digitalized domain for product and related services. First of all, MNCs, by essence, they are multinational companies, and they can play a role as supplier and user. Multinational companies should drive the innovation in the domain of service and the way that we trade in services. Multinational companies are global actors. They have a good understanding of local, and they can connect local to global and work for more global projects. And at the end, multinational companies are well placed to work with institutions, governmental bodies to push for change in regulations, which is needed for a better trade in services as we are developing more and more new business models in this domain. Green transformation, digital transformation, both in product and services, is not a matter of one person or one country, but requires all countries and people to unite and work together. Let's join hands and contribute to a greener world and better tomorrow with a green and digital development of trade in services. Thank you for your attention.